So I got my first, I think, like psychic medium hit or event happened tonight. So a friend of ours, my wife and I, she's like, oh, there's this place not far, whatever, and they do these things every Tuesday, um, where it's like psychometry, which is you touch something, hold something, and you know download information, and tell someone about it, like, oh, that was whatever, like give them a psychic reading basically off of something, like something that they brought that somebody else had that's now dead, and you try to pick up on it and tell them. So I wasn't able to make the last one. I was like, crap, I wanted to go do it. So she goes, are you gonna go this one? I go, yeah, definitely. So we went over there, and there was probably, I'm gonna say 8 or 10, maybe 8, probably 10 people, and we haven't started yet. And everyone has a pad of paper to write, and I'm just sitting there, just looking around, whatever, and all of a sudden I just hear this name come in, Eleanor. I'm like, huh. And then beauty or beauty pageant. And then ice cream. And I'm like, I should write this down. So, we haven't started yet. I'm just like, so I'm sitting there writing on my paper, da 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 da. And so then, this long story short, it's time for everyone to reach into this little basket. Some people didn't bring something, so they just wrote the person's name down of a loved one who passed on. And so you could get a folded paper with a name on it, or maybe a little object. So it passed the thing around. I reach in there and I feel something. I go, oh, let me grab that. And it was this little bag, and it had a couple of like earrings and some charm or something in it. And so I'm like, okay, let me, so then it's like, okay, like focus on this, write down whatever you get. So I start writing some stuff, and like, I was like Christmas or Easter, whatever, that kind of thing. Oh, and the first lady, Eleanor, or was it this one? I'm trying to think. No, it was this one. Sorry, not Eleanor. I was like perfume. I'm like, I'm getting perfume. And so they're like, well, Joe has to leave early. I did have to leave early. So like, let him go first, And I go, okay. So I said, before I tell you from holding this bag, and she goes, well, that's mine, this lady. I go, okay. I go, before I tell you what I write on this, I'd like to just tell you what I wrote down earlier before we started. I was just sitting here, and this name Eleanor came to me. And I hear a guy, there's one other guy, I hear him go, like, make a sound, like, not a gasp, but like a, like just, and I wasn't sure at first, is he just making a noise, or like, just he's breathing, or I don't know. And then I mentioned about what I got, the ice cream and beauty or beauty pageant. And so then I go right into the bag, and I'm like, well, this is what I got for the bag, da da da. And the girl's like, I don't know about the Eleanor thing. That's not for me. And she goes, but the other part, there are some things in there maybe. She's like, the bag itself with the stuff in it, that was bought in a mall in Turkey. And she's like, we got it on sale, and they only go on sale like on Christmas or Easter or like a holiday like that. And I go, well, I'm thinking, well, the things were inside of it. I couldn't really touch them because they were inside the bag, and I didn't want to open the bag because it was like wrapped up. So I was kind of touching them, and there's a couple other things I mentioned, and she was like, yeah, I'm not sure about that. She goes, but the bag, I think you were picking up on the bag. I go, okay, interesting. Well, that's what I had in my hand, right? So the other guy goes, well, I know the Eleanor. I know the Eleanor connection. I go, oh, really? What is it? He goes, my aunt. Now, this guy's, I think, probably a little older than I am, actually. He's probably in his 50s, I think. And he's like, when I was little, we'd go visit my Aunt Eleanor, and our thing to do, hey, we're going to Eleanor's, but we're going to get ice cream. That was what we did with Aunt Eleanor. We go and get ice cream. That's all. Like, that's my memory. And I go, wow. And I'm going, well, what about the beauty pageant? I said, because the first word was like beauty, but then it was like beauty or beauty pageant. So I wrote down beauty, and then I wrote down pageant a few seconds later. He goes, well, I was like, or maybe is she just this beautiful woman? You know, was she this beautiful woman, like gorgeous or something? He goes, well, problem was I was young and she was old. And Eleanor was old, so it's hard to say, an old lady is gorgeous, is what he was trying to say. And he didn't know about maybe when she was younger, if like she was in a beauty pageant or something like that. So, but he goes, absolutely, Eleanor was her name, and ice cream, like, that's what we did. And I was like, no shit. And I go, I got that just sitting here. I was just sitting here, and the name, it just kind of came in, and you kind of question, is that my thought? Well, how could it be your thought? Why the hell would Eleanor, beauty pageant, and ice cream come in? Is that what my monkey mind's doing? And I was like, I need to write this down. So I had to come back because I was doing the video with Marty Hibbs, technical analysis about Bitcoin and my dream about Bitcoin. And I'm releasing that tonight to my Patreon members, which it already is right now. But tomorrow morning, I'm going to release it publicly. I think Spirit wants people to kind of know there's a pretty good Bitcoin trade coming up, and those of you struggling may be able to make a couple bucks on this. So I thought, man, anyways, that's why I had to leave early, because I had a time with him, and I emailed him, hey, can we bump it from 8 to 8:30? And I tried to text him, I tried to call him, call wouldn't go through, and all this crap. And did you get my email? No. Did you get my text? No. Shit, sorry, but it was all good. He got the next email when I sent him the link to Zoom. So I was like, all right, good. So I just got done finishing that up and came up here, about to take a shower. So I thought, man, let me just do this video, because this is, can't read people. I don't get stuff. I go to bed, I get my dreams. Oh, here's what I got. Although I did have an interesting experience in New Mexico in February where I flashed out of my body, as I mentioned, and became a Spaniard for a second, watching my guy Dave, who became a worker, digging in this little crack. And I was super happy with his progress. And then I snapped back. I was like, what the That's what I was like. So that's freaking cool. Of course, immediately I get in my car and I'm driving home to hurry up and get on the video with Marty. And I'm like, I got to call Woo, dude. I got to call Richard, the shaman. It's my teacher, man. It's like I will be your father, teacher. Put your hand in mine. I got to call him. So I call him, and he was all excited about it. He's like, oh, I love it. I love hearing this kind of stuff. When like a breakthrough, or, you progress, and like this, like you never had this happen. I go, I know. I don't typically read. He goes, well, she was there. She was in the room. She had, gave him the message. It's how it works. He goes, but that's not psychometry where you're touching something. He's like, that's a next level beyond that. That's like psychic mediumship. And I'm go, oh, well, shit, man. All right, let's go. So anyways, little update. That's pretty freaking cool. Watch the Bitcoin video tomorrow. There's a good trade. Again, it's already on Patreon. And do not forget to lick your ice cream on that one, because there's going to be a pullback.